Happy birthday!
Yeah, I could be 30.
I may not be able to remember, but I probably can. Early one morning, the sun was shining. I was laying in bed, wondering if she changed at all, if her hair was still red. Her folks said our lives together sure was gonna be rough. Never did like Mama's homemade dress, and Papa's banquet wasn't big enough. And I was standing by the side of the road, rain falling on my shoes, heading off for the East Coast. Lord knows I paid some dues getting through. Tangled up in blue. She wasn't married when we first met, soon to be divorced. I helped her out of a jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. We drove that car as far as we could and abandoned it out west. Split up on the docks that night, both agreeing that it was best. She turned around to look at me as I was walking away. I heard her say over my shoulder, "We'll meet again someday." Only heaven knew. Tangled up in blue. Job in the great north woods, working as a cook for a spell, but I never did like it all that much, and one day the axe just fell. So I drifted on down to New Orleans, and I was lucky enough to be employed, working for a while on a fishing boat right outside of Delacroix. But all the time that I was alone, the past was close behind. I seen a lot of women, but she never escaped my mind, and I just grew tangled up in blue. She was working in a topless place when I stopped in for a beer. I just kept looking at the side of her face and the spotlight so clear. And later on, when the crowd then about to do the same, she was standing there in back of my chair saying, "Jimmy, don't I know your name?" And I muttered something underneath my breath, and she studied the lines on my face. I must admit I felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces on my shoes. Tangled up in blue. Offered me a pipe. I thought you'd never say hello, she said. You look like the silent type. She opened up a book of poems and handed it to me, written by an Italian poet from the 15th century. And every one of those words rang true. It glowed like burning coal, pouring off of every page like it was written in my soul. Basement down the stairs, there was music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air. And he started into dealing with slaves, and something inside of him died, and she had to sell everything she owned and froze up inside. And one day finally the bottom fell out and I became withdrawn. The only thing I knew how to do was to keep on keeping on, like a bird that flew. Somehow, all the people we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. Some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives. I don't know how it all got started, and I don't know what they do with their lives. But me, I'm still on the road and headed for another joint. Suddenly I turned around and she was standing there with silver bracelets on her wrists and flowers in her hair. She walked up to me so gracefully and took my crown of thorns. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now there's a wall between us and something there's been lost. I took too much for granted and I got my signals crossed. Just to think that it all began on an uneventful morn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now the deputy walks on hard nails and the preacher rides him out. But nothing really matters much, it's doom alone that counts. And the one-eyed undertaker blows a feudal horn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. I seen newborn babies wailing like a mourning dove. Old men with broken teeth, stranded without love. Do I understand your question, man? Is it hopeless and forlorn? Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. In a little hilltop village, they gamble for my clothes. I bargained for salvation and she gave me a lethal dose. I offered up my innocence and God repaid with scorn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now I'm living in a foreign country, but I'm bound to cross the line. In beauty walks a razor's edge, someday I'll make it mine. If I could only turn back the clock to when God and her were born. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
Oh man, that's way good.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan would have been proud.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And how about something for the lead guitarist? Beautiful guitar.
Oh, thank you.